Excellent.
And you are now good to go. It's
Excellent. Well,
9:05.
perfect. Welcome everyone to the February 3rd Policy Committee meeting. We have got about 88 pages, as we were just saying, of policy to review and discuss. And so, without further ado, let's hop right into our agenda. The first thing being the approval of minutes from January 12th. I actually do have one correction on there, and I apologize that I didn't send this to you earlier, Jody.
That's okay.
David was absent. We won't hold that against him. However, you have him as voting yay for just adjournment. So if you could take that out, that'd be great. And that's the only thing I saw.
Oh,
Michael, did you see any misplaced comments?
yeah, you're right. That's
Nope,
interesting. I
that was
wonder how
it.
I did that.
Great catch, Sharon. Great
Now,
catch.
wait, what does that
Yeah.
say about me? That Jody just assumed I'm the guy that's always moving for adjournment,
You're a yes guy. That's all we
right? Yeah,
What's really
Sharon.
interesting is that he's marked as absent, but yet it's still picked up a yay. So that's very interesting. I'm going to check
Yeah.
that.
No, I saw that you marked him as absent, but
Yeah. So it shouldn't have included him, and I don't know why it did. That's
Yeah.
really weird. I will correct that for you.
Thanks. That's the only thing I saw. And Michael said the same thing. So if I could have a motion to approve the minutes, that would be wonderful.
With
Yep.
correction.
So
With
moved.
corrections. All
With
right,
correction, so moved.
Thank you. David?
I will second that.
Perfect. Off we go. Okay, so let's move the minutes behind us, and now let's hop right into the policies. I think we have policy P6142.1, family life and sex education, in which you're recommending no changes. You want to just go ahead and take it from here, Erica, or Tracy, or whoever's doing this one?
Actually, Tracy's here for a couple of policies that jump through each one of these sections. In the interest of her time, would you mind if we jumped to the policies that Tracy's eyes were on so that we can get those completed first?
Not at all. All right, so Tracy, do you want to tell us which ones we are going to?
Sure. I'd be happy to do that. I reviewed the non-discrimination policy, so policy 1258 and the related regulations. That's in a different section of this. I don't know if we want to go there yet or not.
That's fine. If you want to just scroll down and tell us what page we're on, and we can all join you there.
It is.
I remember reading them, but
I printed them out again. I should know better because you always ask me what page I'm on, and I never
there's a
can
number on the
answer.
bottom of there's a number on the bottom of the page, though. It should have printed up.
Yeah, I'll help find it too.
Not so we hold on. You were doing non-discrimination. Was that it?
Yes.
Yeah,
1258.
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, so that's starts on page 26.
There. Okay.
So this policy we have had for a significant period of time. There is required updated language and definitions captured in this new proposed version. It basically outlines the process if anyone feels like they have been subject to discrimination in the district, and there are regulations that outline exactly what needs to happen, who needs to be contacted, etc.
I read this. I do have one simple question to it, and just out of curiosity, has human trafficking was that like state mandated that we add that in? And this is like just an interesting. I mean, is this something that pretty much everyone is having to add in now? Okay.
Yes, that's part of the updated statutory language.
Okay. I just was taken back by that. Like, all right, that's fine. I didn't see anything in particular on this one that jumped out at me. Michael or David, do you have any thoughts or feedback on this one?
I mean, I looked at it. These seem really dry, and they seem like they're coming from above us.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
That's a reasonable summary.
I know, Tracy, you rolled up your arms and really dove into this one, so I don't want to minimize the policy, but I don't think that there's a lot that we have to say about it.
That's fair.
I-
Looking at the list, trying to keep in order. And Eric, I don't know if you want to talk about the school day policy in general, but I had reviewed some language in that policy related to special education. So that's policy 6112.
That's at the bottom. Hold on. That one I just read this morning. reread this morning, I should say. Instructions, school day 6112. Yes, so that's
Yes.
page 51.
Thank you for helping with that.
I have a question on that one. So in that one, it says in kindergarten, however, continuous session of 2.5 hours may be considered a school day, and that is crossed out. Is there a reason as to why we are differentiating? Is that because we no longer offer half-day kindergarten, or
That's exactly why.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Cool. So I did not have any other questions.
Good on that.
Okay.
And I understand the 4 hours now. 4 hours constitutes a school day. So that was helpful.
Perfect.
Erica, do you also want me to go to the new policies, like the preschool students with disabilities policy?
Yes, before we go there, because I think that might be the last one, do you want to hit the suicide prevention
Oh, yes, sure.
Yeah.
6142.3, which is page 59?
Thank you.
So this particular policy, I think we're proposing a change in where it lives. So we had revised this regulation. There's a note at the top. We had revised this regulation in 2023. It's currently located in the 5000 series. We can either replace what's below with the current regulation or eradicate regulation 6142.3 so that it only appears in the 5000 series.
I would lean towards that just because the 5000 series is so much more full. It's got so much more detail and there's no need to have it listed twice. That's my opinion. Michael, you started saying something?
I agree. Tracy, this was just basically a cut and paste. Is that all you were going to do on this? In terms of like, this is exactly what you would input versus, what's in there. I mean, it's just it seems very redundant. So I agree with Sharon. Basically, I would just get rid of it.
Yeah, the current regulation is listed in this document that you're looking at, Regulation 5141.5. That is already in place and we're already doing that. And it's important. This comes up, unfortunately, with some frequency across our schools. So I agree with leaving it in the 5000 series if everyone is comfortable with that.
Yep, I'm good with that.
Me too.
Okay, so are we just leaving the current regulation in the 5000 series as it was revised in 2023? And what are we doing with this?
I think
Nothing.
we're sunsetting it, right? To get rid of it? The regulation 6142.3.
Yeah,
Yeah, it just doesn't need to appear twice.
okay. Sunset regulation 6142.3.
Hold on, let me ask before we say that. Can anyone think of any reason as to why it would appear twice? Because I have to think that the people who were here before us were equally, if not as smart, if not more so than we are. So let's assume and try to think, is there any reason why any of us can figure out why there would be two regulations?
I think it's related to the fact, like what the series are designed to do. So the 6000 series is for instruction, and the 5000 series, I think, is generally referred to as students. And I think in this particular policy, because there is an adult instructional component to it, they put it in both places, meaning that the way it lives in the current 5141.5, there is student-facing regulatory information, and then there's also information about training that needs to be provided to staff. I think when this originally was rolled out, because again, there's an instructional component,
Yep.
it was put in both. But I also think that can sometimes lead to confusion.
Yeah, people might think that this is all we have as far as a suicide policy is concerned, whereas the other one is so much richer.
You know what I'm thinking? And Sharon, I think you just validated what I was thinking. The current regulation reads like a regulation. This regulation that's labeled 6142.3/5141.5 reads like a policy.
Yeah.
Do we want to keep this regulation what it's titled right now, 6142.3/5141.5. We want to keep this regulation, keep it, but retitle it as a policy and only number it 5141.5. That way, we have a policy 5141.5 followed by a regulation 5141.5.
I would be fine doing that, but we have to make sure that we put a reference to the fact that there is a richer regulation with more language in the policy. Like it would have to reference the regulation, because otherwise they're going to see this as a policy and think that there's a possibility somebody could see this as a policy and this is it. But if we're going to keep it in here, just make sure that this is a policy. The regulation goes, we have to have some sort of language that says the regulation goes further in depth.
Yeah, so why don't we do this so that they know there's a regulation? We'll bring both this like dual coded regulation forward as the new policy, only coded 5141.5 for review. And let's just bring the regulation for review at the same time. So both of them get reviewed and we'll have the same exact review date.
No, that's fine. But what I'm saying is in the actual policy itself, there should be a reference to the regulation so that if people are looking for the information, they can see that there's more to the suicide prevention than just this policy.
Gotcha. All right.
And I'm sorry, you realize that there is already a policy 5141.5.
For suicide?
Yes.
So then why are we having this regulation 6142.3 then?
And then we need to get rid of it, I guess.
Now, the policy language, for not to create more confusion, but I just wanted you to know that that's there. The policy language for the current policy 5141.5 is not exactly the same as the language, I'll say at the top of this page, Erica, that you were just referencing in the revision. I think the policy, we talked about this not all that long ago, policy 5141.5, I think is still appropriate. If you wanted me to look at it and see how we could incorporate language from this proposed revision to this, I could do that, but there is something already in place.
When did we last revisit 5145? Or yeah, 5141.
2023.
So that was, 3 years ago. We could always just revisit that policy and this regulation if you wanted to, or we could just, that's not that long ago, 3 years ago. Thanks. So I don't know, Michael, David, do you guys have any thoughts on this?
I'll say I understand the concept of at least cross-referencing. Because the 5,000 and 6,000 series are intended for different, I don't want to say audiences, but like they are different, right? The spirit behind 5,000 and 6,000.
Yeah.
So you're just talking about cross-referencing versus just removing it, right?
Well, one of those options, either removing the 6,000, removing it from the 6,000s, because it's just, as Tracy said, though, it's focused on adult education more than suicide prevention and intervention. That's the 5,000 series. So do we need to have it in there still, I guess is what I'm trying to say, since it focuses on adult education, and what is that is the importance of having it there, showing that we are providing this, it's required that we provide this education for the adults in the school community, or I'm trying to figure out the importance of having in the 6,000 series.
Again, and I should also clarify, there is an adult education component and there's a student education component. And again, I think that's why it's lived in 6,000. I don't know if there's a way for you to redirect the reader from 6,000 to 5,000, or in light of this conversation, if you just have it in both places. But obviously we want the language to be consistent in both.
That's always my only concern, right? When you have a policy that's in multiple areas, that we maintain consistent language over time, and that over time, somehow there's not competing language that muddies the water here in terms of what the actual policy is. So, look, I mean, I can have it, if it's purely redundant, which it sounds like it's not, I would get rid of it. If if it if it's not purely redundant, then we just have to keep an eye on this, and maybe when we review, I don't know, the 5,000 series next time, we just make sure that we take a look at the 6,000 policy just to make sure that we're reflecting any changes up to date. That's my only concern with it.
I think we can cross-reference by creating because most of these policies are all found online. That's where people are looking for them. And we can
Yeah.
create a hyperlink from the 6,000 to the 5,000 for further clarification or information. And maybe we can rephrase this one saying, suicide prevention, education, really kind of focusing on the educational aspect of it.
Yeah, so this regulation that's dual coded is instruction, suicide prevention, education. And it's for the instruction of this for students. I think what just makes it confusing is it's dual coded. If we want a separate regulation because it's specific to the instruction of students, I would just say we get rid of 5141.5, let it live in the 6,000 series because it's specific to students
And instruction.
and instruction. And wait, is 6,000 series students? Am I getting that?
Instruction.
No, 5,000 is students.
Students.
But
Can I propose something that I don't know if it's technically correct, but I'll just throw it out there? Would it be possible to maintain the 5141.5 policy and regulation around suicide prevention, the strategies that the adults take to support students? And then it's like the last paragraph of that policy is about the instructional component. Could we remove it from 5141.5, reference that there's an instructional component that lives in 6142.3, and have a policy and related regulation just around the instruction? Like, does that solve this issue?
yeah, that takes away the redundancy. And it makes it, but would it be a regulation or a policy? Because right now it exists, I think, as a regulation, correct?
Yeah. But it doesn't read like a regulation
No.
or like a policy. Tracy, if we did that, what would your suggestion be for the renumbering?
I would have, so if we want to call it a policy, because I agree there's not a lot of regulation language, then policy 6142.3 would talk about our instructional requirements for students and our instructional requirements for staff. And then policy and regulation, we do need a regulation for 5141.5, is really the more explicit management of suicidal risk and the steps that we take as a mental health team around that.
Okay. So it's delineated, not dual coded. The instruction for students, instruction for staff will exist as policy 6142.3, and we keep our current regulation and policies specific to 5141.5.
Yes, just removing the last section of that, which is about suicide education, suicide prevention education.
Right.
And having a link over to the other one.
Because that will now live in 6142.3.
Got it. All right. How's that sound to everybody? Good?
That works
I'm
for
on
me.
board. Yeah, I'm on board.
All right.
Agree.
So if we make those changes and we bring it forward for like the first read or first review, just know that we're renaming it to a policy from a regulation, striking the 5141.5, So it reads as policy 6142.3. It's specific to the instruction for students and instructions for staff. And we've moved the last paragraph from 5141.5 to 6142.3. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I think I have one more, which hopefully will be less complicated, which is 6171.2 preschool students with disabilities. This is a new, actually, I think it's titled in your packet preschool special education, but the actual policy is titled preschool students with disabilities.
Page 86.
All right.
Thanks, Jody. So this is a new policy. It is a required policy. I'm happy to address questions about it. I can just say broadly that this outlines our preschool or ELC program as it relates to our legal requirements around students with disabilities. We've discussed this in previous board meetings about how ELC works, but students with disabilities are entitled to education in the public school on or before their third birthday. And this just outlines our requirements related to that. It speaks to the structure of the program. It also speaks to the fact that our program enrolls students without disabilities. That's part of the structure of the program. Those students are tuition-based. Students who are identified do not pay tuition for the program.
Yep. Okay. So it actually starts on page 85, what we were looking at. Yes. So this is all this language. Did you create this language or did you just take this one from Shipman or CABE?
I believe it was a model CABE policy, and I will be honest, I made revisions to it because it needs to reflect what we are doing here.
I mean, it looked good to me. I had no issues with it. David, Michael?
Good to me.
Is this the one I flipped through all of it, all 88 pages, but I'm in the car now, so I only have the ones that made notes on. Is this the one that referenced that came from CABE and we weren't sure if we needed it? There was a document right in the packet.
No, it is required, so I'm not sure which document you're thinking of, but this one isn't optional.
Correct.
Okay. All right. I'm good with it then.
All right. Tracy, did you have any other policies or does that do it?
I think that's it.
Awesome. Thank you for your work and your level of expertise behind these policies. I really appreciate it. I know it's super time consuming, but also very comforting that you've been part of the collaborative policy building process. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Tracy.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good rest of the day.
Thanks. You too. Okay. All right. Do you want to take it from here, Erica?
Sure. We are in section A now, policy regulation reviews, no changes. These are just very old policies that we wanted to put eyes on. I didn't see that there was anything glaring or striking that needed to be changed, but of course, if you have any suggestions or you see any necessary edits as we go along, please let me know. So we have 6142.1, family life and sex education.
I'm curious just about the how this is implemented. What grade is this taught in, or begun? Huh? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
First, of course.
Kindergarten.
I don't have
Michael's
this.
trying to compare his own experiences.
I do not have the scope and sequence in front of me, but I could tell you that wherever it is taught, it's taught in a developmentally appropriate place, in a developmentally appropriate way, in alignment with the health and PE standards as dictated by the State Department of Education.
Okay. they mention here something about this is just curiosity for some of this. They mention here distribution of contraceptives and federal guidelines. What can you go into that a little bit, Erica?
Yeah, hold on one second. I just want to pull up the policy to see if that was supposed to be in red because it is bold. And I just want to make sure that it is actually part of the existing policy.
I know that. Yeah.
614.2.1.
I'm looking at the policy online and it is in red and in bold for some reason.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure that
Yeah,
that
it
wasn't
wasn't
like,
red.
I didn't recall putting that in there, but it's odd that it's in bold.
Yeah.
Um, so how do I answer this question? This is a very, very good question, Michael.
He's good like that.
You really,
Sometimes
you
sometimes
really,
I find the nail.
That's a good one.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like I'm looking at like No Child Left Behind, and since then we've had like the ESSA and like there's been some revisions. And so I am wondering if this is like older language, but why wouldn't I strike it through when I went through all of these revisions and I'm trying to rack my brain while I'm talking to you to
And you can come back to us on it, Erica. I don't want
yeah,
to put you on the spot.
I might
Yeah.
want to, but I just want to pull up the CABE model policy to see if it still exists in there because this does not look like a Shipman policy, and I'm fairly confident Shipman doesn't have a model policy on this. Um,
Yeah, I just found it quite. I also saw the No Child Left Behind. I think is that Laura Bush? Was that part of the Bush administration? Like that
Yes.
trying to date it.
Yes.
So that
Yeah,
was
that
a
was like
while ago.
2006.
it was
So that this was like iterations ago, I
Yeah.
think.
it
Well, there
was
was also
very
something.
early 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are also some other interesting things in which they were talking about HIV education. I was like,
Yeah.
hold on. So, yeah,
It was older, but that was dated older. I think that was like a 1994, 1993 policy. So
yeah,
I get it given the time.
yeah, totally. I mean,
Yeah.
I was 30
Yeah.
minutes away from where Ryan White lived. So,
Yeah.
So
um,
it is in the CABE model policy, which means,
okay.
and they do have a reference to the No Child Left Behind Act of 2001.
2001. Wow.
Yeah, let
Okay.
me do a little bit more research. That's why I didn't take it out because it is in a model policy and they are very good at removing but keeping when appropriate. But
Okay.
let me tag this one, follow up on it, just make sure that that legislation is still intact. And I mean, do we like send out an email to all the professional staff saying that we have to teach this? No. But the teachers who have it in their curriculum are provided with notification and support to teach this content where required and necessary.
So
Okay.
I don't
think
know of, I mean, I don't know of any, myself included, superintendent who in writing notifies the professional staff about the requirements of sexual education and the restrictions concerning distribution of contraceptives or material.
Right. Right. So I'm curious. I'm like, do we do this?
No,
When am I going to have this conversation with?
we
I
do
think that
not.
this was the distribution of contraceptives, I think really truly was like part of the whole HIV era in which that was the big push educationally. I mean, my kids all went through well, not all of them went through the Weston schools, but quite a few of them went through the Weston schools. And I don't think that was an issue, the
And,
distribution of contraceptives.
Yeah.
and then I guess the only other question I had with this was, Erica, in another policy, it may have been the policy on controversial issues, which is the 6144. But I think that provides reference to parents can opt their kids out, but like if it's like the first 2 weeks of school, There was one policy that said that language. It may have been the controversial issues. It may have been another one. Oh, it may be under curriculum exemptions as well, 6147. Oh yeah, it's that one, 6147.
Seven?
Um,
Okay.
does that go for anything including this, that there's a constraint on the part of I mean, the parents, I would say in the first 2 weeks, probably, are trying to make sure that the bus route, works and that they're getting their kids to school on time and getting into a routine. I'm not sure that they're reviewing curriculum. How much do we enforce that basically?
Yeah.
This is my question.
So that's the existing policy. We could think about changing that or modifying it if you don't think it's reasonable. But I do like, or as otherwise directed by the superintendent or his or her designee, which gives a little bit of um, flexibility to parents. So if you're in the middle of a unit or the unit's coming up and they reach out to the high school and the high school calls me, we can say, sure, they can be exempted. You know, for whatever reason, maybe it's a religious reason, maybe it's a whatever reason.
Sure. Whatever. Yeah.
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 So, I didn't make any recommendations on that because of the flexibility there with the superintendent or their designate. But if the committee feels strongly that we should probably, like, say within the first month of school, we can make a change there.
Yeah, I don't know what the right sort of tact would be with that. I just know, I mean, look, I'm busy, everyone's busy. I just know like if the teacher sends an update, oh, next week we're going to be doing this, that's kind of when I find out.
Mhm.
Again, on the other hand, we're trying to balance sort of what's being taught with some, continuity and minimize disruption. And I also understand that you don't want people like the day of, the day before, oh, now we're trying to make accommodations. It has to be sort of within reason.
Yeah.
So I get that. So I don't know what the right answer is here. I guess I would kick it back to you and or Sharon or David.
Yeah, I think, you make a really good point about not wanting to get bombarded the day before or in the middle of the unit.
Correct.
But like I said, if the high school provided me a call, I'd be like, well, were parents notified in a newsletter or an upcoming communication from the teacher about the unit?
Right.
I'd have to do a little bit more digging to make a good decision about whether an exemption was warranted or not. And sometimes we do learn lessons in those moments, like, listen, we got to give people a heads up about the content that's coming if it's sensitive in nature, so they have an opportunity.
Can we put something like that in our policy though? I think to Michael's point, which is a very valid point, the first 2 weeks, that maybe that's just a state requirement and that just covers our arses. But the reality is that's not very thoughtful towards the parent population either. And is there any way that we can say parents will be given notice, 2 weeks or a month prior to any sort of controversial content being taught in the classroom, and they'll have until maybe 2 weeks, maybe they're given a month's notice and they have until 2 weeks prior to the content being taught to opt out. Can we do something like that? Or is that going to be too disruptive for the teachers? I mean, the teachers know, I have to think the teachers know the content that's
They
going
do.
to be, like in sex ed, they know that
Right.
that's the area. So,
Yeah.
and they have an idea as to when they're going to be teaching it. So can we put something in language that says basically, the instructor will send out notification 1 month prior to any sort of material?
We would just have to define a little bit because anybody can say anything is sensitive in nature,
That's true.
any reason. And
Right.
we would want to make sure that we're defining that. And I think, when we start to create policies that get that intensely nitty-gritty, we back ourselves into a corner sometimes.
Yeah, and that's why the 2 week policy covers us. If
It
we keep it
does.
to the first
It
2 weeks
does.
of school, then we're covered. If
But I
somebody
have to say, my experience here so far, and I've been in contact with a couple of the schools over some sensitive materials or readings that were happening, very reasonable in the resolution of that. So, I don't want you to think like by directing it to the superintendent that it's always going to be a hard no. There are circumstances and there's information that you have to go get. And I think we always err on the side of being sensitive to parents' desires and wishes relative to exemptions
Okay.
without
Yeah, look, yeah.
compromising the kid's educational experience. And or sometimes it's just about informing and giving parents like a little bit of the more detailed information about what's going on.
What they're going to be taught.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
look,
it's a
again, I
topic.
think it's, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
When,
What were you
when a
saying?
parent just looks at a topic, like they go to an extreme place. But when
Right.
we get to have the conversation with them, we get to break it down a little bit. And sometimes they're okay with that, and sometimes they're not.
So I guess having the superintendent's discretion language in there is probably the closest thing we're going to get to it, just making sure that parents understand that there is some leeway. And, provided it's not going to be exceptionally disruptive repeatedly. Sometimes they do find out at the last minute and, they should have the ability to still say, I don't want my kid to be exposed to that if they feel that strongly about it and they've had a conversation with you, to be able to to have I'm sure that, there's a certain level of, you have to respect a parent's wishes for those things too. So maybe just leaving it as it is with,
And if it surfaces as an issue in the future, we can always bring it back to the committee for reconsideration. Say, hey, listen, we're getting all these exemptions. Like, can we work something into the policy that helps manage it so that parents feel supported by it and then the district isn't so restricted or confined by it?
That's fair.
Yeah, I've been listening to everything that both Sharon and, of course, Erica and Michael have been saying. I would like to know if there is a way. I think the first couple of weeks of the school year, two things are true. As Michael said, a lot's going on and parents aren't looking at curriculum. And then to the point, I think, Erica, you just brought up, or maybe with Sharon, as you get closer to the actual educational component and a parent can potentially dive into what this really is, they might not object to it. So is there a way to give parents, so do the teachers generally notify parents that this topic is going to be taught on X date? Like, is there a...
No, I don't think they give an actual date.
They just say we have a
You may
section.
know that it's part of a unit for the course, whether it's a semester or a year, but no, I wouldn't say it's an exact date. And I wouldn't expect a teacher to give an exact date. Things change, they're up against some variables, they may have to shift a unit, something might get revised.
No days.
Right. And I'm not saying, for example, it's going to happen on Tuesday, February 3rd, but for example, it's going to happen the last 2 weeks of February, or it's going to happen in March. So really the question is there a way to kind of meet in the middle where we can notify the parents that this is going to be taught next month, 6 weeks from now, and still give them the option, if they choose to opt out, rather than having to go through an exemption, which I think just by kind of connotation, an exemption seems like this isn't ordinary. I have to ask for something special and it's going to be scrutinized, when in fact, if they asked for it at the beginning of the school year, they would just be granted it. So is there a way to kind of meet in the middle where parents can opt out closer to the date?
This is an exemption policy that's around 4 specific areas, not an opt-out for certain things that might be in the periphery of these 4 areas. So I don't really want to convolute the two, an exemption versus an opt-out. There are some other policies that deal with opt-outs. This is a complete exemption for dissection, family life education, HIV, AIDS, and sexual abuse, and they give some definitions below in the policy of what that is.
Do we still have an HIV AIDS curriculum? Or is that all just part of
It's all part of a
sexuality?
unit. Yeah, in health.
Yeah. So, I mean, do we have, if they're opting out of the family planning, human sexuality aspect of it, would that not also cover the HIV AIDS portion of it? Do we need to separate that out still? I guess is my question.
Yeah, maybe. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should. because family life education instruction is defined as instruction pertaining to family planning, human sexuality, parenting, nutrition, and the emotional, physical, psychological, hygienic, and economic and social aspects of family life.
Okay.
Whereas the AIDS is defined as ongoing systematic instruction on acquired immune deficiency syndrome.
So it's only about HIV/AIDS. It doesn't cover any other STDs. I
No.
don't know if that acronym is still appropriate. I think that they have other acronyms for it. They've changed everything.
Yeah, it is for those four things: dissection, family life education, HIV/AIDS, and sexual abuse.
Okay.
Again, up until this point, we haven't had any issues with the policy as it's existed. So
So maybe it's just
we
not
haven't
broke.
made any changes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it puts you, and so last comment on this and we'll move on, but it does put the onus on you or any superintendent, right, to make a decision. And so there's discretion, of course, there on your part. And let's say, Erica, I'm 100% aligned with sort of your decision making and everything's great and you're fair. The next superintendent may not be. And so that's where I start to get squishy
But we
on
get to
it.
hire them.
Yeah. Wow. Right.
Well, Michael, this policy's been in place since 2017. How many superintendents have been through this policy?
Yeah. Yeah.
No comment. No comment.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Does that include
I
acting?
totally, I
Okay.
joke and jest, but I totally understand your point. So, you want to open it up to 4 weeks of school, that gives parents a month. Again, up until this point, I don't think this has surfaced as an issue at the board level per se. The policy hasn't been revised since 2017. We can roll with it, and if it becomes a problem, the great thing about policy is you could bring it back, you could review it, you could revise it, you can adjust it.
You know what? Maybe there's a happy medium. Maybe we just make it a month. Just call it a month. And they have a month now instead of 2 weeks because, like, to Michael's point, it's buses and, trying to make sure you have permission slips signed and you've paid your dues and all that stuff. So let's just make it a month. And that's being
4
a little more
weeks.
lenient with the parent population. And there we go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good compromise. I like it. Thanks, Sharon.
Yeah, and I like the spirit of what you were saying, Erica, which is that there's policy and then there's spirit. And if a parent says, I missed the window, this is important to me, it's not going to be unreasonably withheld.
No, absolutely not.
Right.
Okay.
Excellent.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
So I'm going to bring that to the board, but it will change to the first 4 weeks of school.
Correct.
All right.
Great.
Okay, let's go back. We're going to bring back policy 6142.1. The next one is recognition of religious holidays policy.
That all looked fine to me. I didn't see anything that was glaring that needed to be changed in there.
I'm
And
good.
the associated regulation.
The associated regulations.
Right.
Again, same.
Yep.
There's opt-out language in there, David.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Erica, just for all of these, holidays, the family life, the controversial issues, all these things, the curriculum exemptions, they'll all adhere to this 1 month. Is that correct?
I don't know that the other ones.
Okay. I just didn't know if it was a blanket policy that it's, let's say, the 1 month across all of these things, or not so, or it's just curriculum exemption based.
Yes, that is curriculum
Okay.
exemption based. I don't believe the opt-out section for parents' rights under the regulations for the recognition of religious holidays has a timeline.
As a time.
But
Okay.
it says
Okay.
they have the right to request in writing that they're provided an alternative experience or performance related to religious holiday without penalty.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, 6144, controversial issues.
Um,
Any complaints since you've been here, Erica,
No,
in terms of controversial issues?
nothing that
Okay.
would be out of
Okay. Out of bounds.
line or
Yeah.
the ordinary. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
And then the extracurricular program.
Seemed okay.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Yep.
And organizations, associations, 6145.5.
It looks good.
Excellent. The grading system,
Basic and fine.
basic and fine. And if you want more details, see the program of studies.
Exactly.
We don't grade on a curve in any class, do we? Or do we?
Not generally, but things are weighted differently. So you may see like homework is weighted differently than a summative exam versus
Oh, yeah.
things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But no one's getting an A, getting a 60 on a test,
No,
essentially. Okay.
I'm not to my knowledge, but I doubt it. Here, I doubt it.
Yeah.
I only say that because there were plenty of exams where, you know,
That's college.
55 was an A. I'm like, oh boy, this is not going to be good.
Something's wrong with that, though. I don't know. Something's terribly wrong with that.
I agree.
But I'm glad they did it for my own personal respect.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
I don't know. Kids today
Can I follow you?
don't have it as easy. All
No.
right. So the grading system, excellent. We went through curriculum exemptions. I think we're good there with the change in language for 4 weeks. Thank you
Yep.
for the suggestion on that. 6151 instruction class size, didn't touch it.
Yep.
There's no
Leave
number.
it
so
alone.
It's fine. Yep.
But there are guidelines that we adhere to very closely, and they were part of our budget process, and I think we're very transparent about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Care of instructional materials.
As a parent who's had to
Sanctions?
pay for lost books, I think that's absolutely sufficient and fine.
Saying sanction seemed like a very interesting word.
Yeah.
You're going to sanction the kids for lost or damaged. Okay.
That is,
I did have I had one comment on this.
yes.
Do we want to include anything about Chromebooks? Because Chromebooks are replacing textbooks. So I know that the cost to repair the Chromebooks is covered elsewhere,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
just something
This
about Chromebooks.
Listen, that's a great thought. And I do have a lot of like suggestions regarding Chromebooks specific to like a policy suggesting that parents get insurance and stuff like that. I'm not sure it belongs here. It might belong in more of like a technology policy.
Would it be
That's where it's
considered
covered.
under other school property assigned to them? Would that cover it? Because a Chromebook is assigned to them.
You want to put in parentheses there, example Chromebook?
And other educational materials in school property assigned to them.
I mean,
Yeah.
when I saw that, I just thought to myself, and again, to Erica, to your point, maybe it's not the right place, but I thought to myself, why isn't the word Chromebook or iPad? Because we're standard issuing those these days, more so in many cases than textbooks.
I think that it's other school property it's general enough to cover both of those, don't you think? Or do we need to be specific?
Well, I like that it says property because it starts as all books, locks, library materials.
Mhm.
Property automatically, to me, I defer to like technology type thing.
Yeah. I think it's okay like this. I think if we start getting too specific, if we turn it into Chromebooks and then suddenly we stop using Chromebooks and we use something else, we have to come back and revise it. Whereas school property, I think, covers it all.
Okay.
That's my take on it. I'm one of three. David, Michael?
The
David?
hill yeah, I mean, this isn't the hill I'm going to die on. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I'm fine
All
with
right.
it.
Perfect.
And again, if like we have a serious issue where we're like, Chromebooks are breaking, it's like not because of use or accidents, but because like intentional poking and lifting of keys, whatever it is.
What?
And we're
Kids
having a
would do
problem
that?
with the screen with the pencil. Um, if that is the case, and it like surfaces, I'll come to the policy committee and be like, listen, we need a policy. That's
Yeah.
the beauty of this, like a great working policy like this, because things will surface.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. There's a regulation on academic honesty.
Take it out. No, I'm teasing. It's fine.
My
But
my only yeah, go ahead, Sharon.
you're going to say something about AI, aren't you?
I was gonna say, how do you deal with the use of AI on this?
The
Yep.
district has an AI policy.
I'm sorry.
The district has an AI policy, I believe.
It does.
Yeah. But
And
We created it last year.
so
yeah,
here's my thinking on this, right? Because I knew the question was going to surface. You have teachers, and they set the parameters on the use of AI to very minimal, like a level 1, to you could use it for whatever you want, a level 5, depending on the task, the activity, or the assignment. If they're saying no AI, this policy works, right? If they're saying you can only use this much AI, the policy works. It's when that's not defined that might get a little convoluted, and we may have to revisit this and or the AI policy as things progress and we become more educated and it becomes more seamlessly integrated in the teaching and learning process.
That is a great explanation, Eric. I like that. I agree.
It's super complicated,
It is.
but
I talked to a friend who's a professor at Columbia, and he said to me he welcomes the use of AI so he doesn't have to correct so many grammatical errors in the papers that he asks the students to write. So
How does he deal with the emails that they send him, though?
exactly.
It's interesting. My son is he's in business school right now, and I feel bad for these kids because with AI, the professors can see how the papers were actually written. They can see the keystrokes and how frequently they would, like, how long it took them to write something if they're on just going on a keep writing and writing and writing, or if they're pausing, stopping, and through a lot of the different behaviors, they can determine how much AI was actually being utilized or how much they were referencing other people. Like if they were sharing the document, they can see all that stuff now. I'm so glad I'm not a student now. That's all I can say. Anyway, it's kind of spooky. All right, that's off the topic. How are you guys about this one?
Fine.
All
I'm
right,
fine
good.
then.
David?
Yeah, I'm fine.
All right. Scroll on.
school calendar.
Yay. Done. I'm good. Anyone else?
So conscious, as long as we have our February be in the policy.
I think, David, I'm going to translate for him. I think he said so long as we have the February break, he has no problem.
And the April break.
I did.
And the April break.
April break. Okay. And graduation. No, I think this is good. Should we put anything in here about graduation or not? Because we have to determine. No, we already have that in somewhere else. When we
Yeah,
determine
that's somewhere else. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. So I think we're fine there.
Awesome.
Guys, I'm gonna have to jump. Sorry, client meeting.
Okay.
All right.
We'll
catch
take
up.
it from here.
I will catch up with one of you later.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, David.
See ya.
Let's see. 6140.1, approval of academic programs.
Fine.
Yeah, this looks fine to me.
All right. Very good. All right, moving right along. We're going to get into the ones that need a revision or some updates. And so the first one is this policy 0210, mission and functions, goals, objectives for students. I would like to renumber this one if you are okay with it.
Can I ask why?
0200. just to get it to align a little bit and it's not misnumbered. This originally looked like it was a CABE policy. There is no shipment policy. And sometimes it's just easier if the numbers are aligned when we're looking for revisions
Okay,
so that it matches.
perfect. That's fine by me.
It essentially, the spirit of the policy is exactly the same. I just sort of detailed it out a little bit more. I'm open to suggestions, but I did like play with some of the wording 1 through 17, so it sort of captures the essence of Weston.
I liked it. I read through it all. I didn't really have there's nothing that was jumping out at me at all.
I actually really liked this.
Yeah.
So, to the extent that you actually formatted this and sort of tailored this to Weston, I think you did a really good job.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so this was, okay, 0200, 0210. There's a few of these that I just wanted to reorganize just a little bit because I feel like, when there's this, like Jody is like the face of the office. Like I feel like this policy is the face of the district sometimes. It's it's the 0,000 series. It is the face of the district, and I think it's really important.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
All right. We did the non-discrimination. We'll move from that
Yeah.
one.
Yes. That was a big one.
Good one.
I think we're up to page 46, concept and roles and instruction.
Yeah.
Almost halfway there, guys. Actually, we are halfway there. We're just past.
Bear with me. Concepts and roles in instruction, policy 6,000.
Okay.
I'm getting there.
See.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. I was fine with this.
Me too.
Great. Policy 6010, goals and objectives. Philosophical guidelines wasn't associated with the title of 6010. So I thought we should align the title to what the actual policy number was. And the policy did include some of what's in black. And then I put something below for consideration for the policy committee.
I like those. The following goals for instructional program. I like that. The part that you added in.
Yeah.
Michael, did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I did. I mean, it read well. It read consistent with the missions and goals document that we just reviewed. Yeah.
Yeah, I say we add that in.
From the instructional point of view, right? Yeah. When you say add that in, what do you mean?
Well, so right now it says for consideration. Do we need to take that out and then have the board
Yes.
establish the following goals for instructional program?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Add. Okay. School calendar. Didn't we just do this one?
We did, and this is a little different. And guess what? We have high school graduation here. So I knew I read it
Yes, that's
somewhere.
right.
Oh,
Yes.
the one we looked at before was the regulation. Sorry.
Right.
Okay, so this
Policy.
is the policy. So this is good.
I just thought it was interesting that we can declare a holiday.
I think so too. Michael, what's our next holiday going to be?
That happened in my previous district. They declared Three Kings Day as a school holiday, and children didn't have school on that day. We used it for a PD day.
Wow. I have to be
So
honest
do
with
you-
you. Had I known that we could have declared a school holiday, it could have been fun for the district to have declared a blue ribbon school holiday when WIS was designated a blue ribbon school. Celebrate their success. But anyway, that's behind us now. But it's nice to know that we have the option to do that if something like that would come up.
Yes, and if David and Michael want to keep the 2 vacation weeks, we have to make sure we're ending school before the end of June,
I was
everybody.
going to say,
I
just
was
remember
gonna
with
say,
that
do we have to
holiday
make up for
comes
that
one
day?
more day.
Exactly.
Okay, so we do have to make up for that day. We have.
All right,
Mhm.
never mind. Still 180.
Yes.
Okay. Are you okay with this one?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And just for the record, Erica, I don't want to keep the 2 weeks. I want the kids to be in school as much as possible. So I'm all for shortening those up, but I think David is very adamant that we keep those holidays, as are, I'm sure, a lot of parents.
Yeah. I think sometimes the February one is good with the illnesses to sort of clear out the schools. That always helps. Like we're always looking forward to that. It's usually a 3 or 4 day weekend. But right now we can manage it. We're getting out at a reasonable time in June, so we'll
Yeah.
roll with it unless
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't have the full February break until a few years ago. Prior to that, we had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. And to be honest, I love that. I thought it was great. In New York, we always had the week. Coming up here, we just had a long weekend, but it was enough of a break. But
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, because I know Fairfield and Newtown have just long weekends.
Yeah,
They
that's
don't
what we
they
used
don't
to
have
have.
the week. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's more typical, the long weekend.
Mm-hmm. New York has always had a week, but that just
Hmm.
makes skiing even worse.
Well, this is now I have to take time off to find things to do with these kids. So they're skiing that whole week.
Yep,
Nice.
that's absolutely right.
Oh, so
No
much
matter how
Okay.
crowded.
All right.
Go to
Policy
Canada.
two.
Yeah, really.
That's what we used to do. We go to Canada.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. All right, we're at 6112.
Yeah, I think we talked with Tracy about this one because there was a piece at the bottom with special education.
Yes, because I asked about the kindergarten part in there. So yeah, we're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yep.
And this is non-discrimination of the instructional program, 6121.
So number 6, did you add that in? Because
I
that's
did. It
Okay.
was in one of the model policies. And it made sense. I think it's something that we're already sort of doing anyway. So
Sure.
I captured it
Yeah.
there. I hope you're okay with it.
Yeah, no, I have no issue. It's just a different color and different font, so I wasn't quite sure if that was from the other changes. So I didn't quite understand where that was coming from. But yeah, I'm fine with it.
Yep. Me too.
My favorite one, we're getting to migrant students, and I'm like, the migrant fishing population. I think we might
I
have
thought it was going in a different way, in a different direction when I read the title.
Oh.
I must admit.
You know,
No.
I didn't even think about that because I had a lot of migrant students
Yeah.
when I was a teacher in New Haven. Um,
Plus migrant fishing. Did you have them there as well?
no, they were mostly field workers.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm like, we're not a coastal town. We don't have a lot of a fishing industry
Right.
here. So I wasn't quite sure why that was here. And with the exception of a few onions that grow in these rocky fields around here, we don't really have any agricultural migrant workers either. But it's important to have something like this in place
Sure.
in case we do start farming things. Who knows?
I forgot to look to see if this 1.312 was a required one.
It probably is.
So
I grew up with a lot of farm migrant workers coming through, so I understand.
yeah. And so I just sort of put some additional pieces of information that were in the model policy that I thought were pertinent.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
I thought
fine.
it was fun. Yeah.
Okay. Publications.
I think it's important for kids to continue to learn how to write and have a voice and do school newspapers and annuals and magazines. It's like, if they're going to potentially use this as a career path, it's important for them to understand the steps that go into news, publications, writing, all that good stuff. So I have no problem with that.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Awesome. And you're okay with the added language there in red that I
Yeah.
added? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, this was a fun one. This was use of copying devices.
Yeah, I understand why it's here, but I think it's just hysterical. Like if
I
a
do
teacher
too.
wants to use Bluey in her classroom, are we not going to let her make a copy on our photocopier? Like, okay. We have to have it, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just sort of expanded it, tightened it up because it was very much out of alignment with some of the model policies.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Policy is fine. Yeah, perfect.
Right. Oh, our favorite 6.1, the suicide prevention. I think we've
done that.
We did that, yeah.
I got my notes on that, so that's good.
Yep.
Page 62.
Thank you. Fire emergency crisis response drills. This was something that Jim revised for me.
Good.
Okay, I
Yep.
was going to ask you if he had a look at this. Okay, great.
Yep, he did.
Awesome.
And this is a regulation.
Yes.
Okay.
I was fine with this one.
Yeah, me too.
You did a good job.
Yep. He does a great job. Emergencies and disaster preparedness. This was also something Jim took a look at.
Yep. It
Okay,
looked good to me.
awesome.
Looked good to me, although he put the onus on you. He took himself out of that. I didn't see any reference to any director of safety and security. All on you,
Actually-
Erica.
Yes, I know, but I go immediately to him.
Yeah. Everything falls on Erica's shoulders, unfortunately.
Oh, good. It's part of the role. That's why I love it. All right, here we go, Michael. I think you referenced this one last time, political activities of school employees. And I
Yes.
put a section in there in red for discussion. Shipman doesn't have a model policy, so what is here came out of CAPE.
I read this kind of like, okay, this could be a very, very polarizing kind of policy, and let's make sure that it's not. Let's make sure it's as neutral as possible, and I liked it.
I did too. I actually I liked the language. I thought it was very down the middle and fair, and it drew clear lines of distinction. So
Yep.
I mean, it preserved people's ability to do what they want, sort of in their personal time,
Hmm.
and clearly made made a distinction between that and, of course, anything that's school sanctioned or supported. So yeah,
Yep.
I liked it. Yeah.
Okay. So if you like that language in red, would
Mhm.
you like it at the top of the policy? Do you want to leave it at the bottom of the policy? You want to keep the writing in black above, which is the existing policy.
Mm.
Yeah. Maybe I think maybe we put the red part at the top.
That's what I
I
was.
agree. I agree. That seems like it's a nice overarching introduction, and then we get into specifics.
Yep.
Totally concur. Okay. I'm just making. Loitering or causing disturbance. This was another one that Jim revised for me.
It looks good to me.
Yeah, me too.
Possession of deadly weapons or firearms. This was all Jim.
And didn't we talk? Oh no, we did. We talked about the discipline surrounding it. All right. No, this looked good to me.
Yeah, me too. It was interesting that even if you have the ability to carry that, you do not have the right to do it on in the district, like on
I've-
school property.
Yeah, I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Do we need to post that anywhere on our buildings?
That's a good question. I'll have to
That is a
ask.
good question.
Yeah. I do remember the first time I went down to Texas as an adult and I sat in a bar and they had a sign that they had to put in the bar that said you couldn't have firearms in there. I'm like, that's a great idea as I'm drinking a beer. Like, you should not have firearms inside here right now. But then I also, like, bad combo. But then I also remember going to the gym in New York, in Westchester, and it was a Lifetime gym, and they had a sign on the door that said firearms are not allowed. And I'm like, random, happy, but random. Why?
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
so I didn't know if maybe there's a requirement for us if we do say that they can't carry in, or if it's statewide, you can't carry on school grounds. I don't know. Do we need to have a sign if we're different or what? So if we could find that out, that would be great.
Yeah, I have never seen a sign in the school ever. And I've been in a lot of schools and I've
Yeah.
never seen one sign. I do know it is a law. You cannot have it in a school.
Okay, so then that answers that question. That's
Yep.
why.
Yeah,
Okay.
It is a state law, Erica?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay.
So then we don't need to have a sign saying
No.
that.
Yeah.
Unless we want to
Okay.
be extra cautious.
I think that would almost raise if we don't have to have one, it would raise alarms if we start putting them up.
100%. I agree. I do not want to have signs up like that if we don't need to. But if we need to, I want to. So
Yeah.
okay, we're good. Oh, it's right there. Note, under state law, in order to prohibit all persons from carrying deadly weapons. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. A school district must affirmatively pass a policy prohibiting such items. Wow. So it's not in all schools.
So it's not an opt out, it's an opt in.
Yeah. Under state law, in order to prohibit all persons from carrying deadly weapons and/or firearms into school property, including persons who hold a legitimate permit to carry such weapons elsewhere, a school district must affirmatively pass a policy prohibiting such items. Yikes.
Is that school property versus inside an actual school?
That's
But
Do we want to draw that distinction anyway?
No. School property, I would think, is
School property.
property that the
Outside
school
all of the
owns.
property.
Yeah. That's scary that the school has to have a policy in order for it to be enacted, though. I would hope that it would just be a statewide, law. But okay. All right.
And it
it's still-
says if a district wishes to enact a wider prohibition to consult with legal counsel.
yeah. All right. I think that what we have is fine. I really don't want to draw attention to
Correct.
weapons on campus, like to your point, Michael. So yeah.
Sharon,
Wow.
to your point for the gym, I have seen those before because I think people, when they work out, they are not supposed to, but they leave them in a locker.
Yeah. Isn't that nice?
That poses a whole nother risk, right? So
Always take a
I
top
have
locker.
seen those signs at gyms before. It's really bizarre, but yeah. Anyway, we have a regulation, sexual offenders.
Okay,
Jim took a look at this one as well.
Okay.
that seemed fine to me, the changes.
Me too.
Okay. Last section here. We have a statement of philosophy, policy 0,000. This is a new policy, and I believe it is required. No, it is not required.
It's a nice thing to have, though.
0210 or 0200 is required. Right. That's what my note says. Like, I think this goes really nice with some of the other ones. We have the statement of a philosophy where we have our goals and what did we call them?
Objectives.
Objectives. And so I thought it was a nice compliment to it.
Yeah, I think
I
that
did
this is nice. This is lovely.
Okay. And of course, our district mission statement.
Yep.
I don't think it's this one. We didn't have this one. This is new. Yeah. This is also new, community relations, and it is required by law. Communication with the public and parent involvement.
Promoting and supporting parenting skills. Are we as a district doing that? How do we do that? That's a tricky one.
It is really tricky. I think my lens on parenting skills is very broad, right? So I've been to a couple of academic workshops that our CILs have demonstrated how parents can help support math fluency at home or things like that. Like, I see that as a parenting skill, being able to sit with your child, set aside time for homework and or to do something together to reinforce a skill. And so, I think it's broadly covered. I don't think we're sitting parents down telling them how to toilet train their children.
If they're in third grade, we are, but that's another story. Yes. Okay. So I understand. I guess, yeah, okay.
So,
Education.
skills could be a very broad umbrella.
That's fair. That's
Yes.
fair. Okay.
And we will, customize based on what parents are seeking.
So a lot of times the parenting education, there have been some things. I remember Megan bringing in some speakers to deal with, helping kids cope with the anxiety of, prepping for college and things like that. She's done some nice job with some of that. But some of the other parenting skills, the majority of the parenting stuff that I've attended as a parent has been through the PTO, not from the school. For an example, they bring in SROs to show parents what the vaping devices look like, when the kids first started vaping, and, we had no clue what these things look like. So they showed us. So if you saw these, don't laugh, Michael, you young child.
I don't know. I don't know either. I don't know what they look like.
Just you wait until you see it. You're like, hold on, that's a flash drive. That's not a, oh my God, they're smoking that thing? Like,
Flash drive.
so, but those were great. So that type of parenting skills the PTO does this, what else does, all right. So that's too much. I don't want to get too in the weeds on this, but now I understand parenting skills from the
Yeah.
schools.
Well, think about it. If we have a grade 9 orientation for parents, we're providing them with additional information on how to support their children at home so they could be successful, right?
Correct. In the transition. Yeah, you're right.
So like I look at it very broadly,
Okay.
but you're right. The PTO does a lot. They just did one on executive functioning, and those, I guess those can all contribute, and we're grateful for their partnership for that.
True. All right. Excellent.
All right.
Thank you.
Survey of students. All right. Tina helped me with this one. She met with Mary Faith and who else? Hold on, let me pick up. She wrote me notes.
Who's Mary Faith? How do I know?
Faith is our PE CIL.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
And Meredith, our director of counseling. So
Okay.
she worked with the two of them to support the revisions. And the revisions align to our practice with Connecticut's new requirement beginning in the 25-26 school year for that biennial school climate survey with the advanced parent notification and the opt-out option. So it aligns with that. It also strengthens the protections for sensitive survey topics under the Protection of Pupil Rights Amendment and clarifies the approval requirements for third-party surveys, like for researchers or if our local health department wanted to come in and do a survey with high school students around, risks around alcohol and drug use, things like that. And so it also protects students' rights, confidentiality, holding the data sacred, and reporting results in aggregate for data privacy purposes.
I thought it was extremely thorough.
She did a great job on it.
Yeah.
I did too. I have no objections to anything in here. I thought it was really well done.
Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy policy, so I thank
Yeah.
her for extensive work on it. It was very helpful. And preschool with disabilities, which we already went through.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so 0220, I think that this policy was like a combination of 0210, 0000, the philosophy, statement of philosophy, and 0100, which is our mission statement. And so I would like to retire this policy because I do believe it's represented in those other three policies.
I completely agree.
I do as well. I mean, I think you've covered it more thoroughly and up to date
Yep.
In the other policies. So yeah, I'm all for sunsetting this.
Yep. We finally get to sunset something without
I
a
know.
doubt.
It's a win. Take it.
Woohoo!
And that is it. Wow, an hour and 25 minutes.
Nicely
All
done,
right.
Erica. Thank you so much. So much work went into this, and we really, really appreciate it. And Jody, you too. We appreciate everything.
Yeah. So we
So-
will
Getting there.
make some edits and get them fully prepared for the board meeting. Oh boy, on the 23rd.
Yes.
No,
No,
that's a special
No.
meeting.
Right.
This
March.
isn't going to be until March, so we have a little breathing room to get this on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm good. Now for the discussion regarding policy regulation review at the next meeting. I'm assuming you guys are going to bring another 500 pages to us, so I will allocate a full weekend of reading for that as well.
I have the other half of the 6,000 series to go.
Yay! Oh boy. All right. Well, we've got a month now. So, all right. So we're good for that. Next scheduled meeting is March 3rd, 9:00. Is there anything else that I'm missing right now?
I just want to say thank you for reading the 80 plus pages. I know it is so much on top of everything else that you have, but I really appreciate it.
You know what? Thank you. You take a lot of time and you put a lot of thought into these policies, and I really appreciate that because I think for a long time the policies we were creating new policies and not necessarily reviewing the existing policies.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot that needs to really be tightened up and cleaned up. And I appreciate your thoughtful approach and your eye to detail, and making sure that we're going to have a really nice, clean set of policies going forward. So thank you very much for doing that.
Yeah, look, I'll jump in too. Thank you, really. I know that we just read the policy to actually either do the research, transport the language, review the language, amend the language, draft the language.
Yeah.
I mean, for each one of those policies has to take, an hour or two just to go through and make sure we're being covered. So, it's a lot of work, and so I appreciate it as well. And I think you guys are doing a great job, like basically wading through all this. And I'm feeling very positive and confident that by the school year here, everything will be up to date and we'll be on track. So everything will be very congruent in terms of language. So thank you for everything you guys are doing.
Absolutely. Perfect. All right. With that, I don't want to hold you any longer. So can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. And I second. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Have
Thanks,
a great
everyone.
week.
Thank
and
you.
we
Have a
will
nice
see you at
day.
other meetings.
Okay. Bye.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Sure.